Hi, and welcome to the Lima Bravo Zero Foxtrot India YouTube channel. I am Morten, call sign Lima Bravo Zero Foxtrot India, and I'm a newly licensed amateur radio operator. I got my license in December 2020, so that's less than a year ago. Since then, I've enjoyed different aspects and challenges of the hobby. I have enjoyed HF. I have enjoyed 2 meters and 70 centimeters. I have done a little bit of soda. I've done more portable than I've done soda. I have built a couple of antennas, and I try to just enjoy the challenges. And if those challenges weren't enough, I've decided to give myself another one, to make a YouTube channel. Partly because I wanted to show my kids that making a YouTube channel is not easy. And partly because I wanted to show off different gadgets and aspects of the hobby that aren't really discussed on either web or YouTube. And one of those aspects is today's topic. Chinese radio, Leixen UV998. Pops up everywhere on eBay, AliExpress, and everywhere Chinese radios are sold, but it's not really any information on either web or YouTube. But before we go to that radio, I'm just going to explain one thing, and that's why I'm doing this in English and not in my native Norwegian. And that is because this is a narrow hobby. And there's nothing as frustrating as trying to figure out something about a new radio, a new aspect of the hobby, some new software, and figure out that it's in a language you don't know. So I'm trying to reach as broad as possible in a really narrow hobby. So I'm doing this in English, and hopefully that'll help some people out there. I bought this radio on eBay. And as you can see on eBay here, it's a typical eBay radio. It only says 25 watts, 200 channels, dual band radio. And the picture doesn't really show how small it is. So how small is it? Well, it pretty much fits inside the palm of my hand. It is small. It's built out of aluminum, only passive cooling, no fan. Got 5 buttons on the front here. The VFO and menu buttons are programmable. The up and down arrows, they control the volume and the menus, but there are some issues with that. We'll get back to that later in my conclusion. So on to how to program the radio. So how do you program the radio? Well, it is supposed to be programmable from the front panel, or more correctly from the microphone, but that is not intuitive. It is not easy, so I gave up on that. So I decided to try the Leixen branded software from the Leixen website, which is, in lack of a better word, Chinese. It is well translated, but it's not user-friendly. You cannot find anything where you expect to find it, and when you change the settings, they don't really change when you program it to the radio. So I quickly gave up on that. The next step was Chirp. And the good news is it is Chirp programmable. You do, however, need to download a plugin. I'll provide a link for that in the description. And you need to put Chirp in developer mode. When you do that, you have 2 banks for the memories, the A and B band. The A band is the top VFO, and the B band is the bottom VFO. They are not interchangeable, so what you program into memory bank B will always be on the bottom VFO, and what you program into memory bank A will always be on the top VFO. So you got to take that into consideration when programming it. You can also change pretty much any menu setting in Chirp, which is a good thing, because when it's programmed, you can't really change every setting in the radio. Might be the way I have programmed it, but it might also be the radio itself. I was also not able to enter VFO mode after programming it, but that's no issue for me. I only drive back and forth to work, so I use a handful of repeaters, and that's about it. So for me, that's no big issue. Might be for you though. So that's something to take into consideration when you decide to buy this radio or not. It is though a pretty easy radio to program once you get the hang of how to do it in Chirp. I had to figure all of this out by myself, but now you've seen it here, so that'll make it easier for you. So let's take the radio out into the car and see what it looks like there, and I'll draw some conclusions after we've seen how it looks in the car. Welcome to my daily driver, 2015 Nissan Leaf. There's not a lot of room to mount a radio in this vehicle, so I needed something compact. And the Leixen radio actually fits the bill pretty well. Let me show you how I mounted it, and after that I'll go through a list of some conclusions about the radio. I've decided to mount the radio in the center console, mounted by double-sided tape. Power is drawn from the 12-volt cigarette lighter outlet, which is sufficient. It's only a 25-watt radio, and since it's 25 Chinese watts, it should be more than sufficient. The microphone is mounted a little bit further up on the dashboard by double-sided tape and a 3D printed holder. Not by any means a professional install, but it works for my purpose. So would I do it again this way? Absolutely. The coax is routed between the seats and to the trunk, and there's a mag-mounted antenna on top of the car. Works pretty decent. Can't complain at all. So what do I think about this radio? Well, for the price, you can't really beat it, but there are a couple of pros and cons. I'll do the cons first. The issue that I'm not able to enter VFO mode is not critical by any means, but for some people that might be a deal breaker. The same issue would be that not all the menu items are reachable from the radio itself. You actually need to use a computer to change the menu settings. That might be a deal breaker. But on the positive side, I paid about 50 euros for the radio. It works. It's got clean modulation. I actually had a report during a QSO that it was the best sounding radio I had, which is pretty good. The audio on the speaker is loud. Pretty much a little bit too loud sometimes. I rarely need to go above the number 2 setting, and the volume goes to 15. So setting number 1 and 2 is probably as loud as you ever need it. At least here. This is an electric vehicle, so it is a lot quieter than others, but there should be sufficient volume for everyone. So would I buy this radio again? Absolutely. No doubt at all. It is a small radio, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So yes, I'd buy it again. So that'll be all for this time. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you'd like some more updates. And there are some more videos coming pretty soon. Got a couple of antennas that I'm going to build. I got a couple of antennas that I bought that I'm going to test. And field days coming up this weekend here in Norway, so might be a little bit from that as well. So until next time, take care. 7-3.